Someday you'll come running. Somehow rivers calling. You'll see I'll be longing. I'm free. Come hell and high water, I'm gonna make.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 816 with a review of The Running Man. I'm Christopher Schnese.
And I'm Stephen Miller.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week on the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest films coming to a theater near you. This week, we're going to be talking about The Running Man and Wicked for Good, but we're starting with The Running Man. Stephen, start this episode off. I wanted to ask you a question. A lot of times in film, when there is a large amount of money that is supposed to be like, oh my god, you know, this bank heist, we're earning this much money, or I'm going to hold this person ransom and I want this much money. It's always a number that seems like, shouldn't this be a bigger number?
Right, yeah.
Do you think that this film swerves way in the other direction? Like, how many people are competing for $1 billion?
Well, I mean, remember, they're not dollars. They're
new
other
dollars.
Unclear, new dollars.
But
I find the currency in this movie confusing, because there are moments when they're very excited to get like $500 new dollars or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's that the daily wins are exponential, so they accumulate in ways where by the time you're 1 or 2 weeks in, then you're in the realm of many millions or something. Because I wasn't sure if I misheard the word billion.
No, because
almost all the initial rewards were much smaller than that. Yeah, but you're right. They show it with the commas. And everything.
They show a big ass one with a bajillion zeros. Right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm like $1 billion. Oh, that's a lot of. That's like opposite of Mr. Evil or Dr. Evil, right? I was just like, that's so interesting, and yeah, like everything starts as like a small thing, and then goes up, towards the end. But I was trying to understand what you would go through to get $1 billion. Like, obviously, potentially dying every single day multiple times for 30 days to get that seems a little crazy. But yeah, billion was an interesting choice. I guess that's the way they modernized the story, quote unquote.
Yeah, I guess so. My pre-review question is, have you seen The Running Man?
I have not seen The Running Man.
Neither have I. So we are very ill-equipped to even understand how well Edgar Wright adapted. I know it's adapted from a Stephen King, book, but how well he adapted this and updated the previous movie.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely things that I assumed were adaptive choices based on where we are as the world today, but I think those might be related to the previous version of it as well, but well, who knows? Well, now that we've admitted that we're completely ill-prepared to talk about the merits of this film, should we talk about, Stephen, if this film
the merits of the film? Sounds great. We wouldn't be the first people talking out of our ass into a microphone.
All right, well, let's take a listen to the trailer for The Running Man and then come back and give everybody a review.
Ben Richards, 35, married, 1 child, in medical crisis.
We need money for a doctor now.
Ben, watch us up.
Employment status, blacklisted. But there's still a way out for you. It's the biggest show in the country.
Bloodlust is our birthright! Set it free! Welcome to The Running Man!
People on these games never come back.
I'm not trying to get myself killed, so kiss my ass twice.
Right there is why you can win this game. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days with the entire nation hunting you down. And get your family out of Slumside for good.
I'm gonna come back here and burn this building down. I promise.
That's the spirit.
This is America, goddammit! And we don't put up with no bullshit! Yes! Hunt him down!
Stop filming me!
you ever wondered if this game is rigged?
Guess we'll find out.
You might be moving up too fast.
Hey, buddy. You're on Freebie.
You better run! I got a grenade!
Back at you.
I'm still here, you shit eaters. Hey, big boys!
Are you crazy?
All right, so that was the trailer for The Running Man. Basically, a man is running. He wants to make money to help his family, who is very in need of it. Joins a game show in which, if you can survive for 30 days, you'll get $1 billion. Stephen Miller, what did you think of The Running Man?
So I thought The Running Man was okay. Like, some context, I was sitting around Las Vegas, kind of feeling claustrophobic in the whole casino strip type thing. So I was happy for an excuse to go to like a pretty much entirely empty movie theater and watch something. So I will say off the bat, my bar was not that high when I was watching The Running Man. I think it does some things well. Like when there is action taking place, which is maybe half the time The Running Man is playing, I think it is staged well. Like Edgar Wright knows how to make a propulsive, fun action movie. Like there are a handful of set pieces here that I think are pretty entertaining. I also think, having not seen the original Running Man, the premise of it, I enjoyed it. I enjoy how dark the satire gets, you know, the satire of rich versus the poor and capitalism and what will people do, you know, to survive, and media obsessed culture. Lots of things that like presaged the Hunger Games in ways that I like probably would have realized had I known about the original Running Man movie. I enjoyed that for the most part. I will say, I think this movie is pretty damn shallow, and it kind of, the plot falls apart when you think about it for very long at all. I think the best parts of this movie are the setup, getting very excited about the Running Man competition happening. A few set pieces in the middle of the movie when it is just delivering on exactly what the trailer told you it was going to be, you know, just chase after chase after chase and elaborate ways of trying to escape. And Michael Cera, who I believe is the MVP of this movie, and I really enjoyed whenever he was on screen. Yeah. I had a great time with that. In between those things, there is an attempt at making a kind of muddled social message that I think really doesn't hold up at all. There are attempts to wring pathos from Glen Powell's character, who I think is just all over the map in this movie. I mean, when a character trait is that he needs to be angry, he will suddenly be angry. When he has to be charming, he will suddenly be charming. And it is very, very, very hard for me to understand who he is on the inside, which is odd for a character we are meant to root for. You know, he really is being asked to do this kind of strange, all over the place type performance, and it did not really work for me. Yeah. Other things that didn't really work for me at all. The whole setup of this movie is there are 3 runners, you know, like the Hunger Games. We have the crew of people, and we're going to see how long each of them survives. We have Glen Powell, we have the Please Don't Destroy guy, and we have Katie O'Brien from Love Lies Bleeding. Yep. They are teed up. We're like, hell yeah, off to the races. Let's see this competition. And then basically we get zero payoff at all about the other two. I don't understand why they're in the script. I don't understand what is meant to happen.
Steven, how could you not understand why they're in the script? There's a whole character devoted to explaining to you why they're in the script.
Telling me. And that is the other part that I think really doesn't work, is there is an attempt around the middle of this movie, and then it just snowballs throughout the movie of getting meta and making it be about the reality show competition phoniness of this whole thing. At first, I enjoyed that. Like, little bits of poking fun at our media-obsessed culture. Like, there's some satire called The Americanos that I thought was mildly funny whenever it was on screen. There are things where I like it peeling back the curtain and showing how bloodthirsty everyone is, but it gets so big, it overtakes the whole movie, and the whole movie's point gets completely lost in this bigger point of, I don't even know what, so to me, The Running Man really, really goes off the rails. And I say all that while also admitting, when I left the theater, I was feeling moderately good about The Running Man. I was like, okay, I'm pumped. I got enough adrenaline. Michael Cera really carried a lot of it for me. I had some fun, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I can't say this is a good movie. I think this went up from a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd to a 3.5 just because Michael Cera made me laugh a lot. And the movie kind of goes out on a high note. I don't know. What did you think? Did you also find it to be messy and confusing, or did the energy mostly carry you?
I pretty much agree with everything you're saying. Like, when I left this film, what I was honestly thinking was, if this was the exact same quality, but just a streaming show that I could just put on and kind of enjoy what it was doing right and not care about the things it was doing wrong, I would be like, yeah, it would be exactly the kind of thing where somebody would say, like, oh, anybody here watching Running Man? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching it. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It would be this kind of thing that, like, I will forget about, and then I'll put it on a Saturday while I'm doing something else and just watch a few episodes of it and be like, yeah, I like that show. As a Edgar Wright film that I was kind of a little bit excited for, it doesn't really work for me. To me, and again, don't have any allegiance to previous properties or anything other than Edgar Wright, the person, and the films before this one. But it was a thing where, like, I was watching it and I was like, this has enough there to carry me through watching it, but not enough there for me to go, yeah, that film was doing or saying anything in particular. Like, the social commentary is just the 30-second opening premise, and then a scene in a car towards the end of the film where suddenly it's like, remember, this movie is supposed to have a social commentary? And you're like, really? You're just gonna
now
like, you're gonna go an hour and a half and then just go like, I mean, eat the rich, right, guys? I didn't understand what it was trying to say.
I don't even know if it's doing eat the rich. It's doing eat the producers. In this imaginary thing that we invented. Like, it is very confusing in terms of the point.
It just didn't make any sense to me. All that being said, like, the idea of what we are watching is great. Obviously, it's an idea that has been literally done in this context multiple times already. But I enjoyed kind of like learning about the world and kind of extrapolating away and thinking about things. I don't understand the rules of this film. Like, premise, I understand, right? You're allowed to rat on other people, essentially, and then you get money if they're killed because you took a photo of them and sent it to the system. That idea makes sense in principle, but what that would actually turn into if this game show was real seems outside of the bounds of what is allowed. And even if they said, we're not going to pay you if you go out of the way and actually kill somebody because only the hunters are supposed to kill somebody, that still wouldn't prevent people from killing people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I don't understand how this could possibly work in a society. So it's like, I don't think the premise works. I don't think the premise would in reality work, but I like the idea of this sort of, in a way, game of assassin, where just by taking a photo of somebody, you can basically tattle on them and then get them attacked by this thing. Like, there was a fun thing to play with there that I kind of enjoyed. You were talking about Glen Powell sort of being, and sorry if I'm paraphrasing this weirdly, but you were saying his character is sort of all over the map in performance and tone and everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
What's specifically weird about those choices in this film is that there's a montage of him trying to get into a game show. And it's one of those things where, like, it's kind of like if you're talking to somebody who's like going to go in for jury duty and you just say like, oh, just, you know, like splash blood on your shirt and say like, I think everybody like needs to die because of global warming or whatever. Right. And then,
hey, don't steal my trick.
you know what I mean? Like there's people joke about that sort of thing. Like do the most extreme thing you could think of. When I watched Glen Powell getting interviewed to figure out which show he could possibly get on, I don't know whether that's the character he's playing or the character he's playing is trying to convince those people that's the character he is.
Yeah, me neither.
And then
I have no idea.
Yeah, and as the film goes on, that line gets blurrier and blurrier. And it's like, were the things you were saying before extreme, or was that just you? Because I can't tell. So, you know, I didn't not enjoy my time with this film. Like, I think it's genuinely kind of a fun film. I like the premise of it, the idea of the premise, and I kind of had fun with it. But anytime it tried to be like, hey, we're going to pause for a second and talk about like the social commentary we're trying, it's like, no, it's totally surface level, as you said. It's obvious before you watch the movie what we're talking about. And I just don't really, I don't know, it lacked anything to be biting. And I think it could have gone even more surface level just to get away from that being a fault, where it's like, guys, we are just going to do Idiocracy here. We don't need to do like a biting social commentary. And instead it tries to like take a few moments to try to say something that doesn't actually land. And that kind of disappointed me in a weird way that it shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I agree. I think the best thing that could have happened to me in terms of my experience of The Running Man is I forgot who directed it until the credits popped up. Because I think if I were gauging this as an Edgar Wright movie, I would have been let down. Yeah. And instead I was gauging this as like that kind of dumb looking thing I saw a trailer for that I'm going to sneak out of, you know, Vegas for a few hours to catch. And I think in that light, it worked well. But I'm going to say something kind of controversial that I think I've said before when we've reviewed other movies featuring this person. I don't think Glen Powell is a very good movie star. Like, I know he's been anointed. Like, everyone has decided, right? Hollywood has spoken. He is the it person. They're trying to make Glen happen. I think he is good at a specific thing. And that specific thing is being the smarmy, kind of fake, overly shiny side character that you look at from a distance. Like, the only example where I really enjoy him as the main character is Hitman. And Hitman is playing off of the idea of you are wearing a mask, you are faking, you are acting this cockiness that does not actually embody who you are.
Yeah.
You know, there is something about his dynamic, especially here, where he just, like you talked about, the feeling of you don't know if you are watching his character or a character his character is playing. And I feel like that is just inherent to his performance style. Like, he has these wild grins, you know, he has these kind of big moments where I don't know who's under there. And I just feel like he is a spice in the stew that you want to use a certain way, and people are trying to use him a different way. And for me, it didn't work. Like, I enjoy watching him run around. Like, I'm fine seeing him do action, but seeing him as the anchor character in a 2+ hour movie, it just didn't work for me in this context at all.
Yeah. So I think I know what it is. And I was talking with Julius a little bit about this. Like, he is always about 15 to 35% overacting at all times. Mm-hmm. And it works when the film requires that. But when the film doesn't require that, it doesn't necessarily work. It's a very specific thing he's doing. And it's kind of like the other addition to that I just kind of was thinking of is that, you know, when you have somebody who plays certain types of roles and then they play a role kind of making fun of the roles they normally play in some other movie, or like Hemsworth in the Ghostbusters movie, right?
Right.
Where he's playing like basically a himbo. Glen Powell is always doing that role, but the movie is not asking for that role.
Right.
And it's like there is he is the uncanny valley for for actor performances.
I completely agree with you. Yeah.
And it's like I I kind of like him as an actor, but I know that it is always discordant with the thing that you were watching. And it's like, as you said, Hitman, that was like the perfect like deploying of how he acts, because it was so self-aware and so perfect. And when you put him in a regular film, it doesn't always work quite that way. He also looks a little bit different in every role. Like he has the whatever the opposite of like that guy face is, right?
Yeah, he blends in a little bit. Yeah.
Like it's Glen Powell, but you're like, but that's not, if I picture Glen Powell, that's not who I'm picturing, but that is him. So I know there's something weird about it.
Right. Yeah, like when I think about roles he's been successful in, Top Gun Maverick works for me, but he's not the guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like the guy who you kind of hate, which is what is supposed to be in that role.
Yeah.
And there it's fine. It isn't quite Hitman where you are literally putting on a performance, but it's bluster, right? It is someone who is putting on their, macho-ness or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's good at that. Twisters, I think I remember having some fun with, but he's like whatever. He's a cardboard cutout of a person. He's just a hunk,
but in Twisters,
he's supposed to be over the top, and it's referencing like a 90s hunk,
But in Twisters, he's also playing his same role from Top Gun, right? He's the other guy, just now he's a cowboy instead of being a fighter pilot, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just he doesn't work to me as a lead, and I know it's too late. The world has already decided that is his fate, but it just doesn't work for me. And to me, he hurts this movie. No ill will towards him. I just think he's not a good anchor, and maybe him combined with a director who is more about style than substance is a bad combo, because no one made sure there was any kind of emotional anchor happening in this movie.
So who I know I'm putting him on the spot. Who or what type would you have cast in this role? Like, what would you need to buy it?
Right. Yeah. Who do I want to be the running man?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like young actors who I think could crush a role like this. I don't know if it's just because the word "run" is in the title, but I feel like Dylan O'Brien could do a pretty good job.
Just after he gets out of the maze, he just goes
right, exactly.
on the running man.
Just when I get out, they put me back in. I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank. Of who is a good, sexy, kind of buff young actor who could pull off this kind of action thing, but has some kind of heart. Do you have anyone in mind?
I don't know. I mean, now you've incepted me with Dylan O'Brien.
Yeah, because I just feel like most of the new crop of, I forget, there's a name coined for like the new Brat Pack. I forget what people have been calling them. The Euphoria-ish runoff of new people.
Yeah.
I feel like most of them are not like just traditionally hunky in a way you would expect for an action movie. They're more like interesting and weird.
Yeah.
So I don't totally know who would fit here.
So here's the question. Why do you have to go young and hunky? Why can't you go...
You're right. It could be grizzled.
Yeah. Why can't you go like full F1 and just have it be Brad Pitt?
Yeah. It's a good question. I need to think about it more. Get back to me at the end of the episode. But for now, I would propose, unless you have more broad thoughts, I think a little bit of a spoiler section is in order, because I do kind of just want to talk about the way the movie goes off the rails to me, and the point when I feel like it fully lost me.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do that then. Let's go ahead and get into some pre-spoiler verdicts. So, Stephen Miller, if you're going to give this a must-see, recommend with a caveat, wait for rental, pass with a caveat, or a must-avoid, what would you give it?
I guess I'm going to stick to my letterboxed guns and give this a surprisingly positive recommend with a caveat. Like, I don't think there's a lot of substance here, but when it is good, meaning when it is well-edited action pieces set to music, or when Michael Cera is on screen, or when it is having fun with its premise, I think it is very fun. The problem is all of the glue, like the other hour and 15 minutes of this movie, is pretty all over the place. So I'm giving it a recommend with a caveat, but that is like me being very generous given how I felt while I was watching it. How about you?
As I said, I also agree that is some fun stuff. There is some fun to be had with this film. I don't know if it's enough for me to bump it up to a recommend with a caveat, so I'm going to leave it as a wait for rental. But, this is a perfect streaming film to watch because it's just kind of like, it's there, it's light, it's breezy, you get done with it, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember I watched The Running Man this weekend. That was kind of fun. So that's how I feel about that, Steven.
Cool. I have my answer, by the way. I think Michael B. Jordan would crush it as the Running Man.
Okay, yeah.
I think he would be really good.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Good work.
I don't know if Creed is part of what did it, but like, you like to root for him, right? You want to see him succeed, but you also believe he could be like flawed or have anger or things like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think he could crush it.
Yeah. He's killing hunters, but he doesn't like that he's doing it. He's really just doing it for his family.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are about to get into spoilers, but for now, we're going to say goodbye to everybody who hasn't seen The Running Man yet. So, Stephen Miller, people want to find you throughout the week. Where can they do that?
People can find me at Blue Sky at sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or ChristopherIRL on a number of social platforms. You can find the podcast over at thespoilerwarning.com where you can get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on Overcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, or instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from a track selected from artlist.io. That is playing now. That music is going to fade up, and when that music fades out, we're going to take off running into spoilers and hope that the hunters don't find us.
Maybe I'm reckless. Maybe I play the fool. Come hell or high water, baby, I think I want you. Someday.
All right, we are back. This is spoiler territory. It's the after part of a review of The Running Man. We're going to be talking full-blown spoilers, so watch out. Before we jump into spoilers, though, Steven, I just want to say, during that outro that I kept flubbing over was because my eye was watching the, videos playing on IMDb, and one of them was behind-the-scenes stuff, and I saw Glen Powell is acting in the behind-the-scenes stuff exactly the way he acts in his roles, and I think
it's just him.
He's always mugging.
Yeah. I think it's very similar to Josh Hartnett and how you and I just agreed he just has crazy eyes. It isn't a character trait.
So Steven, oh my God. So I don't know if we're just mind melding right now, but before you said that, there was a shot where somebody's head gets slammed into a mirror. And that has nothing to do with anything. But in my head, I was thinking that mirror could be on a plane, and he could have been in the... And you said Josh Hartnett, and I was like, oh my God.
There you go.
Oh, good times. Anyways, spoilers. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we don't need to run through the whole plot of this movie. But I would just say for the first half, maybe, of the movie, it seems like it is teeing up a very expected path. And for me, the kind of well-worn groove I wanted with this kind of silly premise, which is, okay, we are going to root for Glen Powell to keep on running, and they're going to throw everything they can at him. And at first, he's going to mostly just play the game, and he's going to be painted as a villain, but he's going to start to win populist support. And over time, he's going to be a threat to them, right? He's going to be Katniss. He's going to be whatever. It's what all these movies do. And it's kind of what I wanted, and it gives you that a bit. You see crowds of people starting to support him. You see how things get factionalized. He escapes from the hotel and then is rescued by the kid and his brother. And, you see how he can start to become a part of these hurting communities and see himself as not just one angry man providing for his family, but a symbol for something more. And I was so ready for that. And then right when I feel like the movie is really giving it to me, it just decides to take it away. And I don't know why.
You're talking about specifically the deep fake stuff where it's he was finally going to start speaking about something and then they just change all his words.
Well, and even the deepfake I'm okay with, right? It's that is another obstacle for him to overcome, is how can he win this game when they have all the power? But rather than make him want to win the game, they make it so he just becomes this kind of nihilist who doesn't care about playing the game anymore. You know, like he starts refusing to put in the tape. You know, he leaves that message saying, you turn it in instead. There are multiple times when the hunters could kill him, but they choose not to because cinematically they want it to be a better way of killing him. There's the meta element that comes in around.
At face value, I don't think that is a bad concept of like, hey, we totally have you dead to rights, but like we're actually like people are rooting for you, and that's better for the show if you're not dead yet. So we'll go on. Like that in concept is good. It just isn't executed in the best way.
See, I'm okay with the concept. I think that element being thrown into a movie that still has like 40 minutes of action left in it just kills all the momentum. Like, it is fine for there to be one or two instances where there is a head-to-head battle and then the big boss overrides it because whatever, it's going to be better television to wait, right? It's fine for them to do the like James Bond villain thing where it's like, I'm not going to kill you right now. I'm going to lower you into a pit so the camera gets like the perfect shot. Like, I'm okay with that. This movie, it presents the idea that they're not going to kill him as long as the ratings are good. And to me, that just drains any momentum from the movie. Because all of a sudden, he's just like, what am I even doing here? He's not really sticking it to them. He's running, kind of, but we don't really know why, because it seems like he could just kind of do anything he wanted and they would keep him alive as long as he pretends to be cool, which is, again, I guess the hitman-ness coming in here, where there's a little bit of him having to pretend to be a star. And then to me, it fully grinds to a halt when he gets in the car with the girl from Coda, whose name I'm forgetting right now. And it just goes full on meta of just, let's have a discussion of society and how fake this is. It's fake because you think I'm evil and I'm not. It's all them. But also, they're not going to kill me. Look, they're following us right now. They could blow us up at any time and they won't. And it never recovered from that, as far as I could tell. The movie is just like on autopilot in a way that feels very strange to me.
Yeah, especially because the entire ending with the whole like get on a plane, pretend it's going to blow up, but it's not. We know it's not going. He wants to fly the plane into the building, but they're going to fly it into the building instead so that it looks like he flew it into the building. But if you just let him do what he wants to do, he would probably fly it into the building anyway. Like, it's just, it's like
the gap between what he really wants and what they are presenting him as kind of disappears, right? Like he knows they're tricking him into killing all the hunters, and it works, and he still chooses to kill all the hunters. You know, he knows they want him to fly it into the building, and he's flying it into the building. He gives his impassioned fuck you that he knows doesn't get aired. And it's just like, what is this hero, right? Like, who is he sticking it to?
Yeah. And the wild thing, too, is that, so their big plan is to convince everybody he's going to crash the plane into the building and that they have to shoot it down. But then he still goes to the building and blows it up anyway, just without the use of a plane. So it's like their big plan is, again, just to do for him what he already is going to do. But cinematically, they're stopping him from doing it. But they're stopping him from doing it for a different cinematic reason than actually trying to not have him destroy the... It's a weird plan overall that I don't fully understand.
Right. And there's just something about, conceptually, I totally understand the idea of the producers rule everything, right? They're Truman showing it. Like, they could do anything at any time, blah, 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 blah. That's all fine. To me, that has the same effect of, at the end of a movie, someone saying it was all a dream. I'm like, well, why did I fucking watch this then? You know, why did I watch all of this if it was just like a moving sidewalk that was going to take him to the finish line, and all that action only kind of mattered? You know, to me, the juice isn't worth the squeeze with making that statement.
I think what you needed is competing factions, right? So you needed, the studio decides it's better if he lives, but there's one rogue guy, which I guess for 4 seconds you get with Lee Pace at the end.
Sure.
But like, you don't really have that, right? If the hunters had to hunt each other to stop them from going rogue and ending the show early, that would be a thing. Or if it was something closer to Hunger Games, where the show exists as a way to suppress revolt in people by redirecting them against the thing that's not the bad entity. You know what I mean? Like if there was something where it's like, hey, we can't end the show now because there's unrest in the streets, but they're all resting, I guess. I don't know, is resting the opposite unrest, I think.
I guess. They're mollified. They're...
they're being passive while the show, because they have their energy is being put into watching this show. Yeah, if it was more like a true, like, because like they treat it as though there's certain times of day it airs, and then that's when people tune in. It's not like Truman Show where you can actually watch it 24/7, right? Because they're always like, oh, don't go attack him yet because it's 6:00 we're going to go live or whatever. Yeah. So,
which is also like, when they don't find him, what are they doing during that hour block? Like, what are they screening? Just like, I have notes for the studio, basically. It seems like a bad way to structure this. This show.
Well, I mean, they have plenty of other reality shows, right? So it's like this. Yeah, that's the funny thing is this is a show that came out in the streaming era that doesn't think TV works on demand. It thinks there's primetime slots where shows air, and outside of that time, it's just news and like QVC, right? Like nobody, like this doesn't have the contextual understanding that like everything is video on demand or live streaming constantly. Like all the time there's like, you know, channels you could turn on that just have 24/7 like Simpsons and stuff running, like as though it's being programmed on TV. But you know, you don't know. Like it just it's missing. It's not set for the modern day. It's just a modern telling of a story that is still stuck in that time.
Yeah, well, and I feel like it is only clinging to that primetime thing, not because of faithfulness to the source material, but because they want to have that argument of delaying the kill for broadcast.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem worth it to me. Like, to me, the idea of the whole competition falls apart if 23 hours out of the day it isn't live. Because no one wants to tune in just to watch a kill that already happened, you know?
But that's the thing is, if nobody's seen the kill, it hasn't already happened, right? So as long as they were recording, then they can quote unquote air it live, even though it's essentially time delayed, right? Like, if you can't see it in real time, you don't know that kill literally, like, what are the chances that they're just standing outside his house waiting to go in until the time that the show starts, right? Like, it just, it doesn't make sense in a way that just doesn't make sense.
Yep. I agree. I will say part of the reason I thought Michael Cera was the best part of this movie, not just that I think he's hilarious and the energy he brings to it, I think is great. But he is the one example where I feel like the satire has some depth to it, because in this case what it is both like championing him as a anarchist revolutionary and satirizing how kind of annoying and navel-gazing a person who is an anarchist revolutionary would be. You know, like, he is having so much fun getting to play the role of being the spark, being the change maker, even though he like jeopardizes everything because he has to play this game, right? Like, he smashes that button. And I feel like the layers of him, I enjoyed it. And I felt like this is the movie I want, is like, have a take, you know?
Yeah. I think that was my favorite part, is when he's like, don't push the button, they'll be here any second. He's like, wait, they'll be here any second. Like, I didn't Home Alone my entire house for them not to come storming in eventually.
Right.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last thoughts about this movie, Stephen?
No, just that I wanted more from Josh Brolin and Coleman Domingo. Like, there's all these people that are in the power positions, and I just feel like the muddy satire of the movie means they don't really get to have a stance either. So just in general, the characterizations kind of let me down, because it is an all-star cast, and I feel like most of them don't really get a lot to do.
I do think the literal performance of Coleman Domingo is great in this film. Like, I think
he's great.
I think he's bringing exactly the energy. Like, he is in the deadly serious version of this film,
right?
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's just the film around him is not equaling his energy that he's bringing.
No, he's doing great. He's doing the Dead Man's Wire thing. Like he is like the coolest part of the movie. And the movie just doesn't, because by the end, he is kind of refusing to go out on stage because there is a mob, and he has this like stick it to Josh Brolin line of look at my contract.
Yeah.
All of that, I'm just like, why do contracts matter? You guys are like murdering people. Like I don't know. There's just something about the whole satire that kind of does him dirty, I think.
Also, Stephen, if you're going to bring up Dead Man's Wire, that's the answer to the previous question about who could play this role.
Oh, God.
Yeah, get a little Skarsgård in there.
Yeah, give me either Skarsgård, honestly. I'll take any of them. At least the two. I don't know all the others.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode about The Running Man. And now we got to run and go talk about Wicked for Good.
Bye.
Stop filming me!